my PowerPoint presentation could not be seen. What I was saying was that tomorrow on 26th of July 2021, we are going to complete 22 years of Operation Vijay or Kargil War. This was the day on which the Indian Army threw out the last of Pakistani soldiers from the Indian soil. And this day is remembered by every Indian for the bravery of blood, guts, and glory which was shown by the Indian Army. Before we start off on Operation Vijay or Kargil War, what we must understand is that today LOC, that is line of control in Kashmir, which is roughly 780 kilometers, is guarded by nearly 6 divisions or 2 lakh troops. While on the other hand, the Kargil border, which is much longer than the LOC, was guarded barely by 5,000 soldiers or approximately a brigade. Not only that, during winters, because of very heavy snowfall, even some of the posts were withdrawn. It was always imagined, always appreciated that no enemy can sustain himself even if he captures these heights. So, therefore, all these snowy heights were left unheld. And Pakistani army, what it did in the Kargil war was to come inside and occupy those heights which were not held by the Indian army. We must remember that the heights here vary from 9,000 feet up to 18,000 feet. It snows very heavily there, something like 30 to 40 feet of snow. Not only that, 6 months the area is completely covered by the snow. And this was one war which was fought in the high altitude. We also must remember that in 1947, when India became independent, even at that time also, we fought a war in Ladakh. And I have spoken about this war which was fought in Ladakh by General Thimayya and those brave soldiers which ensured that Ladakh came to us. Not only that, even now, after 5th of May last year, we have been fighting a war in the high altitude with the Chinese. This presentation is dedicated to those brave soldiers of Indian Armed Forces who laid down their life in the honor of the country. Duty, honor, courage, Kartavya, Man, Sahas is the motto of my regiment. And this presentation is dedicated to those brave officers. Uh, we who laid down their lives, may their souls rest in peace in the gallery of bravest of the brave. As far as the history of wars fought by the Indian Army is concerned, we fought a war in 1947, which went on for 1 year. Fought a war in 1965, which went on for about 3 to 4 weeks. 71 war, though it went on for 2 weeks, but it was also had begun much earlier, and for about 3 4 months we were fighting that war. Kargil war is we are going to talk about. 1962 war gets mentioned once in a while. We had skirmishes in Nathula. We had skirmishes with the Chinese in Sumdorongchu, which we won. Indian Army has also gone out in Operation Pawan and they tried to tame the LTT. We lost nearly 1,500 soldiers here. Op Cactus was for liberation of Maldives. In addition to this, Indian Army was used in Hyderabad for Mukti Sangram of Hyderabad, which was called Operation Polo in 1948. Goa was liberated by the Indian Army. Siachen Glacier is very well known to you. And in addition to this, we have fought in Punjab during Operation Blue Star, Operation Rakshak, Operation Woodrose, etc. And Jammu and Kashmir, the anti-terrorist operations are still going on. In addition to this, you have Operation Parakram, which almost led to war. When we went to war with Pakistan in Kargil, that time Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji was the Prime Minister. He was a poet at heart and he had written a poem which can be seen by you. What does the poem say? It gives out the wish which Atal Bihari Vajpayee had in his mind. Bharat Pak Padosi, साथ साथ रहना है, प्यार करे या वार करे, दोनों को ही सहना है, जो हम पर गुजरी, बच्चों के संग ना होने देंगे, जंग ना होने देंगे, जंग ना होने देंगे. Atal Bihari Vajpayee's desire was that we should become friendly with Pakistan. We should not fight a war with them. We should live peacefully. This was the poem that he gave when he went to Lahore bus yatra. Unfortunately, when this poem was being given, this was the exact time when Pakistani army was infiltrating onto the icy heights of Kargil. This is that famous photograph of the Kargil war of Tiger Hill, soldiers capturing and putting an India on top of Tiger Hill. Now before we talk of the war as such, we must know where the war was fought, how difficult the area was, how difficult the mountains were. Look at the map of Jammu and Kashmir, and you will realize that area which has been shown to you in green. This is the area which went to Pakistan in 1947. In fact, the Indian army had almost reached halfway in between up to Muzaffarabad, which was the capital of Pakistan, occupied Kashmir, but the rulers brought us back. And now what we have, the present border is called the LOC, which has been shown here, nearly 778 kilometers of long. And below this, below Jammu is what is called as the international border. The LOC and the LAC, which has been shown in black, is held by the Indian Army. Aksai Chin, which is shown in red, was occupied by China in 1962, and this was given away without a fight. And what we have in between is Ladakh, and Ladakh is a huge area. What we must understand is this entire area is Ladakh. You can see this up on all this area up on the top, and this was here when where the Kargil war was fought, and also presently we are fighting with China in East Ladakh. Then below we have the Kashmir Valley, and below that we have the area of Jammu and Udhampur. Now, as far as important places in Kargil are concerned, these are shown to you. Gilgit is the town, Astor, Skardu, Khapalu, Aksai Chin, etc. And below you have the Indian important road which comes from Dras via Kargil. It goes on to Leh. When we look at the mountains around Kargil, this is how it looks. Heights ranging from 9,000 to 18,000, 19,000 feet, covered with snow most of the time. And this is the town of Skardu, from where the infiltrators were supported by the Pakistani army and the Pakistan intelligence agency. This Skardu town was also in limelight during the Ladakh standoff with China. It was said that Pakistani army is trying to activate this area so that it opens up another front against India. But Pakistani army has not dared to do it. In fact, they are in deep trouble in their own country. This is the Baltaru Glacier. Why glaciers are important here, or glacier in Hindi is called as Himanadi. Most of the rivers originate from here in Tibet and other areas. Himanadi is a flat portion of ground where snow accumulates in the plain area, and that is where a lot of lakes are also formed. One of the lakes is shown here, the Satpura Lake, and one would remember that Pangangso Lake is another important lake which is there in the eastern Ladakh, where Indian Army is involved with standoff with the Chinese army. This is the Astor Valley from where the infiltrators came. How nice it looks during no snow. The water channels flowing here are very, very fast. You cannot simply cross them. So you require bridges. Without bridges, these cannot be crossed. And this is an important peak of what is called as Karakoram. Karakoram is the highest peak of Pakistan, that is the Himalayas in Pakistan. And the operation which Pakistani launched against India after the 1971 war is called Operation Karakoram, consisting of three parts: Karakoram 1, that is Khalistan; Karakoram 2, that is Kashmir; and Karakoram 3, is creating unrest and terrorism in rest of the country. This is the Mashko Valley from where they tried to come, and you can see 0.4875, which was a very important point, which was captured by the Indian Army. And this is this famous Siachen Glacier, the highest battleground in the world. And this ground, the Indian Army is holding on to it, and Pakistan Army is at a much lower heights. Strategic importance of the area. Why is this area important? During that time, we had only one national highway which was marked here. You can see it here. This is the national highway which came from Jammu, Srinagar onto Dras, Kaksar, then goes to Leh. And you can see the LOC on the top, and up on the top is this area is held with Pakistan, and what is below here is, of course, India. You can see it very clearly. You can see the Indus River, Skardu, Siachen Glacier, Saltaro Ranges, etc. All can be seen very, very clearly. And the important towns of Mashko, Dras, Kaksar, Kargil, Batalik, Chorbatla, Turtuk can be seen. Must remember that Turtuk was another place where the war was fought in 1970 when Mahavir Chakra was given in this area. So aim of this presentation is to tell you as to why Pakistan came for Kargil. It is also to tell you as to how Indian Army bravely fought the Pakistani army. It was a battle of blood, guts, and glory. And more important is, what will the Pakistanis do in future? What lessons have we learned from the Kargil war? So very briefly, the area, the place is cloudy, place has sub-zero temperatures, clouds are low, there's a hell of a lot of snow which is there. And this is the Tiger Hill, heights varying from 9,000 feet to 18,000 feet. The area is rugged, rocky, mountainous, with absolutely no cover above 9,000 feet, because there are no trees at all. In most places, there is no jungles at all, and lack of oxygen creates a problem. So therefore, you must have what is called as the acclimatization. What is acclimatization? A normal human being cannot survive in the heights above 10,000 feet just like that, because there is a shortage of accommodation, a shortage of oxygen. So the human body has to get used to it. So what is done here basically is that at 9,000 feet, the soldiers are got, they exercise here for 6 days. Various kinds of physical fitness exercises are done. And after they get acclimatized at 9,000 feet, then they are sent to 11,000 feet. 11,000 feet, they remain there for 6 days. Again, a set of exercises is done to acclimatize their body. Then they go to 13,000 feet. 13,000 feet, another 6 days of acclimatization. And then you go at about 13,000 feet. And then your body is acclimatized for fighting in this area. The mountains here are steep. The ridgelines are narrow. The spurs have sandy patches, rocky boulders, which restrict the movement of people. Look at these kind of features. How can you climb from here? So the dominating tactical features ensure that nobody, no soldier can attack them without heavy casualty. The deployment here is restricted simply because there are a very few routes which take you up to the higher pickets where Pakistan soldiers were occupying. And the operation, since the speed of movement in high altitude is very slow, the efficiency of human body goes down by nearly 50%. So therefore, the operations are very, very time consuming. You have to attack from lower heights to higher heights. Imagine if Pakistan is holding this height, then the places from where you can attack, you climb like this from here, you go up like this, or you can come from here, or you can come from these ridge lines and go up from here. Going from here is not simply possible because these areas are very, very steep. So therefore, enemy very easily knows the routes which you will follow. and you have to use a large number of transports. You have the mules, which carry approximately 80 kilograms of load. You have the helicopters, whose efficiency goes down by nearly 50 to 60% in these areas. Other modes of transport include carrying it on your back, using your vehicles to carry the stuff wherever roads is there. Look at how dangerous these roads are, and imagine it is just one way. Of course, now we are trying to improve on the infrastructure here. Pakistan was trying to start terrorism in Ladakh or in the area of Kargil, but he failed. They wanted to spread it and show as if the whole of Jammu and Kashmir was occupied, was preoccupied, or was involved in terrorist activity against India. The various important mountain ranges here are the Great Himalayan ranges, then you have the Zanskar ranges. What we must understand is Kargil, where the war was fought, is in between these two ranges. These two ranges is Kargil is located, and in the next set of ranges up to Ladakh ranges, Leh is located here, and presently the standoff with the Chinese is in this area, that is between the Ladakh ranges and the Karakoram ranges. And beyond this, of course, is Central Asia. So these mountains are very, very steep and rugged. Important towns on the Indian side are shown in yellow: Srinagar, Zozila, Dras, Kargil, Batalik, Kalsi, and Leh. And this is the only important road. Up on the top, you can see Pakistani occupied Kashmir. Without the roads, it is not easy to maintain this sector. And the roads remain open only for a few months between June and October. Rest of the time, it is closed. So now in this part, what we will see is as to how this war was fought. What was Pakistan's game plan? It wanted to occupy Kargil like we had occupied the Siachen Glacier. These are the two men. Nawaz Sharif claimed he did not know about this war, and uh, the general at that point of time, General Musharraf, was the army chief, and he is the one who's planned this operation. Where is Nawaz Sharif today, and where is General Musharraf today? Nawaz Sharif is in jail for corruption, so-called corruption cases, and Musharraf has been thrown out of his country and is settled in the United Arab Emirates. ISI, which is Pakistan's intelligence agencies, carries out these kind of operations, and their policy is very clear: bleeding India by 1,000 cuts, bleeding India by 1,000 agitations, bleeding India by 10,000 activists, bleeding India by 10,000 NGOs. Now, this is the ISI policy. And the second policy is that anybody can rule this country, but ISI will continue to carry out its strategy of bleeding India by 1,000 cuts. So, peace with Pakistan is unlikely for a long time. And Pakistan is sensible enough to understand that they cannot use terrorism as a tool to liberate Kashmir from India. But what is important is they say jihad is not only a means to an end, but also an end in itself. He who dies in the course of jihad is praised by Allah. They know Pakistan cannot liberate Kashmir, but they will continue to do it. So what did Pakistan want to do? It wanted to attack at two places, one at Turtuk, so that you would cut the route to Siachen Glacier, and Siachen Glacier staying would remain impossible. And secondly, cut out the highway at Dras. So what happens? The area in between where the Kargil brigade was occupying, this area will get isolated, and Indian army would not be able to sustain itself between Dras and Kargil. This was the plan for which they went, and they said we will. Initially, they said it was the terrorists or the Pakistani freedom fighters who were involved in it, but that was not the case. Pakistan's regular army battalions of Northern Light Infantry was used. You can see them in the photograph here. And however, they did not come in uniform. They came in their salwar and kameez in the dress of terrorists, wearing on a skull cap, carrying AK-47 rifle, etc. But they were proper Pakistani army soldiers. So aim was to isolate the area and let's say take away this area from India. Now this is they went to such an extent that even when their soldiers were killed, their bodies India wanted to hand them over. They did not want to do it. So how did Pakistan build up its forces? In the month of March and April, in the area which was not occupied, that is where they occupied those areas. And and it is here that Pakistan basically tried to come inside and uh, uh, occupy those areas and thereby trying to cut Indian army from in the area of Kargil, Batali, etc. Okay. Now my presentation is not moving ahead. I think there's a problem because of low bandwidth. Let me see if I can still take it. Somehow it is just not moving. So what I will do is I will just stop share for the time being and let us see if I can use it again. There was a technical problem. I will come back with my presentation once again. Before I again start with the presentation, let me also tell you as to when Pakistan infiltrated inside. For some time, it was not known that they had infiltrated inside because that area was not under surveillance. So what happened afterwards was that Indian Army patrols went, and the first patrol that went inside and detected the Pakistani army's infiltration into India was led by Lieutenant Saurabh Kalia. And it was Kalia's party which found that the Pakistanis had come inside and they were occupying certain heights. Saurabh Kalia's people were captured. Saurabh Kalia was the first casualty of the Kargil war but however, it was very clear that the Pakistanis had very much come inside. Okay, now let us go. I'll try and share the screen once again. Yes, I can see it now. I'll just share it. After Saurabh Kalia, the next person who actually became a hero later is just trying to move the presentation. Yeah, it is moving. Yes, it's good news that it is moving, and I will be able to show you this thing. Okay. 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 I was trying to tell you as to how Pakistani army came inside, how they occupied the area, and the area which they occupied. This is where I was trying to show you. Yes, this was the area where Pakistani army occupied certain unheld heights. So therefore, this is where they had infiltrated nearly 11 battalions of Northern Light Infantry. The numbers are shown here: 2nd Battalion, 12th Battalion, 19th Frontier Force Rifle, etc. They had come inside. And these are the areas where they had come: area of Batale, Kargil, Dras, Mashko, etc. And when Indian Army saw them for the first time, you saw some intruders in the area of Batale. You saw intruders in the area east of Batale. That is where a petrol clash took place between the Indian Army and the intruders. You saw them in Mashko, Dras, in the area of northern valleys. And then it was realized that it was not a small infiltration, but they had come up with full preparation and were occupying a large area. Now, let us talk about the battles. I'll not get into too much of detail. What we must understand is Pakistani army had approximately 11 to 12 battalions. So that is about, you can say something like 12,000 to 15,000 soldiers, because they were actually fighting and they were supporting terrorists, etc., who were carrying administrative stores for them. while the Indian Army used two divisions to fight them, because in this area, if you have to fight, you require to be acclimatized. So two divisions were used, and thereafter you realized that in this area attacks is going to be very costly. So therefore, we must understand here that the most vital factor in any successful battle is always the valor of an individual soldier, the units and the formation. And it is the man on the battlefield that tilts the scales in the war. Every action, large or small, is decided by what happens there in the front, where men take a final chance between life and death. Few articles have appeared in the media in last 1 or 2 days about Kargil war. Some armchair strategists are trying to say we should use technology in this war. I don't know which technology are they going to use. Will the technology stop the Chinese from coming inside? While technology will definitely help you to carry out a better surveillance. But unless the Chinese army is thrashed as it was done in the Battle of Galwan, they will not understand the language. So ultimately, human soldiers are the most important factor if you want to win any war, and that is where India is very strong. When the Indian army made a plan to recapture this area, obviously priority one was Dras, because that is where Indian army's supply routes would have been cut. Then, of course, Batalik, to ensure that Siachen Glacier is not threatened, and then the other areas of Kaksar and Mashko. Now, there are various battles which were fought purely because of lack of time. I will only talk about some of them. The first hero of this war was Captain Vikram Batra, who had joined the Indian Army barely 18 months before. And when the war started, he had said either he would capture the enemy pickets and put Indian flag on top of it, or his body will come with Indian flag draped around the body. His company was given the job of capturing point 5140, which is shown here. They captured the thing. Vikram Batra personally killed 3 Pakistani soldiers, and the place was captured. It was at this point of time a crew of TV people came and interviewed him, and there's a very famous interview of the clip of which is available on the YouTube. It said he told those people when the TV crew asked him, "What do you want to do next?" He said, "Ye dil mange more." That means he wanted to capture another place, and he was told to go and capture point 4875, which came later. When he went to capture 4875, he told his subordinate, "You don't come. I am one with single. If I get killed, nobody is going to lose except my parents, but you remain behind." The place was captured, but Vikram Batra did not come back, and he was awarded the first Paramveer Chakra of this war. Then the next hero was Lieutenant Vijay Thapar, whose battalion was to Rajrib was given the job of capturing a series of places. His company commander, Major Acharya, was killed in the battle. Major Acharya was awarded Mahavir Chakra. After this, the area of Rocky Knob and Three Pimples, this task of capturing it was given to Lieutenant Vijay Thapar's Ghatak platoon, or the commando platoon. He was barely 22 years of age when he joined the army, and before he went away to fight, he wrote a letter which was addressed to his family. In case if I don't come back, you must come and visit this place. I will try and show you this letter a little later. The next hero, this is Lieutenant Vijay Thapar, before the assault, praying in front of Karni Mata, and his company is there. Battle of Tololing was a very bloody battle. Then Battle of 18 Grenadiers fought a war. Captain Manoj Pandey was another hero in this war. On 23rd of July, he was given the task of capturing that area. Lieutenant Balwan Singh, also Mahavir Chakra of 18 Grenadiers, was awarded a Mahavir Chakra here. And 13th Jakarif was the battalion which was given to capture this area of Hum, Rocky Knob, Blacktooth, etc. And Manoj Pandey was also involved thickly in it. I will not get into the battle of point 5140, etc., Captain Vikram Batra's photograph can be seen here. But capture Tiger Hill, etc. This is where Manoj Pandey fought bravely. He was injured. His last message to his fighting troops was ki na chodnu, meaning his troops were from Gurkha regiment. So he said ki don't leave them. Even if I die, you must capture the task which is given to you. He was awarded Paramvir Chakra in this war. Thereafter, a grenadier Yogender Singh was given the job of capturing Tiger Hill. His Ghatak platoon was used. He was injured very seriously. At one point, it was thought that he had been killed, but no, he survived. Today, he is a Subedar Major and honorary captain, and he's been awarded Paramveer Chakra. There are very few awardees of Paramveer Chakra who have lived to tell their stories of bravery. Then Rifleman Sanjay Kumar was another brave man who was involved in Mashko. 0.4875 was the area which he captured, and that is where he killed 5 terrorists, and he was awarded a Paramveer Chakra. Captain Anush Nair was awarded Mahavir Chakra for capturing 0.4875, and he was also martyred here. Then you have many such heroes. One of the heroes I must talk about is Major D.P. Singh, who lost both his legs in the war, but D.P. after he survived after the war, he put on artificial legs, and today he runs races with his artificial legs, and he's called India's leading blade runner, meaning with the artificial legs that he has, he competes in various competitions of athletics. So what is important here that while technology can help you only up to a point, but important is the soldier in this area. So ultimately, Pakistan casualties were 772 killed, including 69 officers and 1,000 wounded. But Nawaz Sharif later said that the casualties were almost twice this number. Indian Army lost 576 soldiers, 1122 were very seriously injured. Officers killed were 25, seriously injured was 57, and it was all the officers. Uh, it was all the officers who led the assault. So therefore, this was a battle of young officers, young soldiers, etc. So therefore, it is this battle was ultimately won by the bravery, etc. As far as honors and awards are concerned, 18 Grenadiers, 2 Rajarif, 13 Jackarif, 18 Gadwal, 8 Sikh were the various units which won the unit citation. And the awards which were won are given here. Paramveer Chakra, initially it was 3, Mahavir Chakra 4, Veer Chakra 29, Sena Medal 52. So ultimately, Operation Kargil was the tribute to those young officers and Jawans who faced the most difficult odds in warding of Pakistan's grab design. It was a classical battle of blood for freedom, a slogan which Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose had used. Blood was there in plenty, and supreme sacrifices were made by many. So remember the soldiers who fought here, who gave their today for our tomorrow. So today is an occasion to salute all these soldiers. You can see them here. Now the Paramveer Chakra winners who are here, the Mahavir Chakra winners who are here, then are another set of Mahavir Chakra winners. Then you have the Veer Chakra winners. There are officers, JCOs, Jawans, NCOs, and you can have a look at them. Havaldar Sultan Singh, Naik Ganesh, Lance Havaldar, Ram Kumar, Subedar, Ranbir Singh. And these are the areas from where they came. So this was a battle which was fought very bravely, and ultimately we evicted Pakistan from there. Now, after Kargil, a Kargil review committee was formed to find out as to what mistakes we made here. But today, because of lack of time, we are not going to talk about it. But some other time, we will find out as to what the Kargil review committee said and what are the recommendations that they gave as far as Kargil war is concerned. and we must also try and analyze whether these were implemented later or not. So I think I will stop here and see if there are any questions which have come up in the chat box. I will try and take a few of them. Let me see if I can see some questions here. No, actually, I'm not able to see any questions here. Okay, since I cannot see any questions, I think time is come to now stop. And all that I will say is, if you like this video, please like it on the Facebook or also on the YouTube, and try and share this link with as many people as possible. So time has come to stop now. We'll again meet next week on Sunday and discuss and talk about another article, another issue, another battle which we will talk about in the next week. I think I'll stop now and say bye bye, Jai Hind, and best wishes. And I'm sure all of us are going to contribute in our uh, bid to make this country more secure. I'll stop here. Jai Hind.